Hi friends, it's Deanna Willison from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I'm back today with a simple craft. Okay, I won't lie, I'm going to try something a little more tricky. This is actually a secular Franciscan profession craft, but you could probably use it for anything. I basically printed out the promises we make at profession from the ritual book. I'll get to that in a second. I'm going to try and transfer that image onto this little piece of wood. And then I have this great little Franciscan looking donkey who's going to go down in the corner. And later, if I get a photo of my actual profession, if this works, I can possibly put a photo of myself and my sponsor up there. So first things first, what do we need? I got this little piece of wood. It's funny, I had it up because it says it's a wood plaque, but when it shows up on the receipt, it calls it a square mosaic tray. I don't know. It was not even $2 from the craft store. If you really want to get that staple out, I would do it now. I don't care. I'm going to leave it, take that trash off. Always remember to take your price tags off. It sounds silly, but sometimes you leave them and then you regret it later because it's not going to come off. I'm also going to go ahead and move this for just a second. What else did I need? The little donkey came in a tube of farm animals. I'll admit I had to buy the whole tube, but I will use it because I do all kinds of nature crafts and vacation Bible camp, so I'll use them later. I'm not worried about that. This was the Mod Podge I used on our little pocket saints, and I realized I did not have the correct Mod Podge, but I used it on my craft anyway. But I wanted to know, what was this image transfer medium? And that is what you actually need for this craft, and it comes with this little sponge applicator. Now, I actually saw this craft done really well with a photograph on the show Pit Bulls and Parolees. I think that's what it's called. My son watches it. And they actually put an actual picture onto a piece of wood. We're going to do writing. If we are able to later and this works and we know how to do it, we can make it for other events. So what I'm going to start with is, it said you can condition the wood first. You can do it on bare wood, or you can use a little bit of acrylic paint. So I do have a little bit of acrylic paint here. Our, 20-year-old acrylic paint. So you're going to want to start that first. You don't want to get the little crumbies everywhere in there. Give it a good couple shakes. If it's really old craft paints, like your kids are out of college and you bought this last when they were 10, you may want to give that a little shake. Now, I also have a brush and some water because I don't want it super duper thick. So I'm going to give this wood just a little bit of a wet surface first so this paint goes well. Make sure that's going to soak in there, because again, I don't want it to be stark white. I wouldn't mind the frame being like that, but the bit in the middle, you know me, I like a little bit of wood grain showing through. So I just want to kind of get it a whitewash. The directions from Mod Podge, they actually used a milk paint. Milk paint is amazing. So you could totally do that if you wanted. This, you just want to really make sure you get in all those cracks, and you can see it's leaving this awful looking texture. Don't worry. I have a paper towel over here. I'm going to wipe this down. So I'm just kind of giving this a little bit of a whitewash. I'm sure when this whole thing is done, I'm going to use some kind of sealant on top, so I'm not super worried. You can see these rough edges are coming through. I did pay $1.50 for this just to learn the technique. It could probably use with a little sanding. If you're buying a better quality of wood, you can do that as well. Get it all nice and sanded up, especially if you're doing a better quality. This is really a test one. But again, I will say, the directions, they actually used a piece of plywood. Right now, plywood is super duper expensive because of the pandemic and everybody doing home improvement projects. Plywood is actually super expensive. I was using floor underlayment boards to do all my paintings on. And that is just a crappy piece of wood that goes under, obviously, carpet and stuff. It's for your subfloor. And just with all this home improvement stuff with the pandemic, you can't afford that anymore. Oh well, so I'm doing other crafts. You can see it's just giving it a tiny bit of that whiteness. I do like the wood grain showing through. Again, if you want more paint, you like the white more, go ahead, whatever color you want. I just wanted to keep this nice and simple. I'm trying to get the worst of those little wood edges out. One thing you do want to look for when you buy these is, this looks like a little bit of wood putty shoved in there. Usually that's a paintable or stainable wood putty, but if it's going to bother you, or consider where you place your image, I probably don't want a word in my image going directly over that. So I'm just going to put that back in the direction actually that I had it a minute ago. This is the way I'm going to want it when I'm ready for it. Not ready for it yet. This needs to set aside and dry. And we're going to let it do that. So what is the next step? While that is drying, I'll tell you, friends, this is not a quick, it's a super quick craft, but there's like this 24-hour drying period in between. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. These are the words, again, of the profession ceremony. I went ahead and put my name in there. And you would want to do that as well. Now, you'll notice you're probably having a hard time reading it. I did have to print a reverse image. How did I get a reverse image? In order to get the image to be reversed, I had to go out to the website, and I found actually the ritual online, the ritual of profession, and I went to the actual promises. I copied it out. I put my name in it where it said, N period, that's me. I put my name in, and at the bottom I included the name of my fraternity, its location, and the date of my profession. So that's all on here. And I wanted it in a fancy script. So I went out to the internet, although you can get it from the ritual book. I'm not so great at typing. So I copied and pasted it from the web into a text box in Microsoft Word. Other programs said I could do it. I couldn't figure it out. So this worked for me. I was in Microsoft Word, a text box into a landscape blank document, pasted this in. Then I set the format. I went with bold lettering because I think it's going to show it up better. And I also wanted the script just because I think it's fancier. And then, I played around with the size till it was the size I thought would fit onto my little board here. And you can see it is going to fit. I'm going to need to trim it up just a smidge more, but I do have more of a gap on the bottom there. How I got the image reversed is I right-clicked on the text box and went into Format Shape. And I think it was called 3D rotation, and I did it 180 degrees, and that made the text reversed. Ta-da! And so now I have this lovely reversed text on this image, and so supposedly this is going to transfer. For first thing, I have to wait for this to dry. This is cut out and basically ready to go. So I'm going to pause until come back in an hour or so when we're ready for the next step. Hi friends, so I am back. I've let this dry a little bit over an hour, and I will say I've come back again with my paper towel just to kind of wipe around. There's some little scrappy bits here. You want to make sure you get all those out, otherwise you're going to transfer your image onto the little bits, the little wood bits that are coming off. Another trick is I've actually scratched this wood up because I didn't shake my rag. So I'd be picking up little bits of wood and then scratching the rest of the wood with it. So you do really want to go like with your grain, okay, and then shake it every now and then. And remember, I wanted that little piece of wood putty right there. So this is the image I wanted, but you really want to make sure you knock this out. You can see all the little splintery bits. Give that a little quick. Probably gonna want to get that a blow. If you've been wondering what this is actually just a little silicone placemat / baking mat. It makes a great craft surface as well. And these I can throw in the dishwasher. So super easy and keeping my table a little bit nicer. I do tons of crafts out here and I'm always making a mess. Now for the image. The part I didn't tell you about with my image, I have two kinds of printers in my house. We have a color printer that is an inkjet. The inkjet uses a slightly different process, but if you go to the Mod Podge website, they're going to tell you what that is. This Mod Podge image transfer works on laser, I think laser printers. This is a dry toner copier or laser printer. So that is what you're going to want to have. If you don't have one, you can check around. Maybe your local library or somebody has one. It's just going to interact. It's how the ink interacts with the product. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is really give this a good couple shakes. And this is why we needed our silicone mat, because now we're ready to try. We're going to put a lot of this down on here. And we are going to start smoothing it out. It is going to make it a little bit harder to see the image, and we are going to totally want to go right up to the edge. Again, that's why we need the silicone mat. Otherwise, you're going to make a mess. It does say if you don't have a silicone mat, go ahead and use wax paper, but just know that it's going to get messy. Like your wax paper might start rolling up and stuff. You know what your product is and whether that's going to work or not for you. You can see how much it's already curled up. Of course, it doesn't do that in their video. Not sure why. So I'm using a lot of this, but you know, they talk about things like air bubbles and stuff in the video. So that's making sense. They're probably used to doing it and grab it more quickly. If you see some images blurred on here, I'm kind of trying to blur out my name and stuff, a little bit of personal info you don't need to know. And so I'm hopefully going to go back and blur those out. So I've put a lot of that on there. This is set up exactly where I want it. So now I'm going to switch out the mat because I don't really want to do it on the mat right now. Remember, I'm looking for that little spot of wood putty. Okay. And I want to have this off-centered, which is funny because I centered the image and then off-centered it, just in case I can come back later with a picture. Trick is, I don't really know that this image is going to be level. Now you can see there are air bubbles. Can you see these air bubbles? So they had they're fancy people at Mod Podge, and they have a brayer. If you have one of those little, little roller things, and you can roll it out. Otherwise, you're just going to want to start at the middle. If you have any kind of a little squeegee might work, especially the ones you use, when you put the new screen on your cell phone, when you're putting the screen protector on, that little squeegee is probably really going to work for this. I did not even think we probably have one of those laying around the house somewhere, and I didn't think about it. Now, here's the trick, friends. We have to let this sit for a full 24 hours. Again, it says not to do that scrubby bit yet. Just try and go sides. If there's an air bubble, of course, that is your ink not interacting with the wood, and so you're not going to have the letters properly there. So we're going to see how hard this is because I'm going to try it. If I can do it, you can do it, and we're going to see. Now, I seriously have to let this sit for 24 hours. Really trying to get that air bubble out. Is it even an air bubble, or is it just my mind playing tricks at some point and it's just a little bit of wrinkly paper? Okay, this has to sit for 24 hours. Again, my little donkey is going to be on here. Yay, he's going to be so cute there. And of course, I used a brown donkey, but some Franciscans wear gray habits, so you can paint him. Again, he's probably painted with acrylic paint to start with. He's just a little plastic figurine. So I could always go over him with gray paint if I want to be more like the conventionals. Leave him brown if it's a Capuchins or Friars Minor or TOR. So totally up to you what color you want to leave him. But since the actual secular Franciscan habit, the one that we're allowed to wear, in our coffin at death, is brown, I think I am going to leave him brown. I think he shows up nicely against the white this way, and I think that's going to be great. I can go ahead and plan for this. How am I going to get him down there? I'm probably going to use some craft glue to hold him down there, or even just hang it up and then set him in. His shoulders are against there, so might be able to do that as well as his feet. Not entirely sure yet, but we'll figure it out. Again, this has to sit for 24 hours, so great. I can go in and clean my brushes and my silicone mat, and there's not a lot to do tomorrow, so I'll check in with you then. But yeah, just wait for me to come back. Okay, friends, 24 hours has passed almost exactly, and here we are with our next phase of our exciting project. I have gotten a paper towel. I've soaked it in water. I scrunched it up, squeezed some of the water out, and here I am. I'm just going to unravel this. I know, it's terribly exciting. Told you, we're lowering the bar on our crafts here just a smidge, but we'll see how this goes. I just need to cover this. This is actually one of those small paper towels, and I got 2 of them. So it doesn't need to cover the entire project. It just needs to cover the paper part, right? So I'm going to try and move this around so that I'm covering as much of the paper as I can. And then I actually just have to let it sit here for a few minutes first. Work your magic. So it's going to sit here for a few minutes. I guess I'll just leave my phone in the rig here, and we'll come back in just a couple minutes and see if we can start removing the paper background. Woo! Exciting. It's been a couple minutes. Let's see what we can do. It says to start rubbing. Ooh, you can see it's soaking through the paper. Okay, not everywhere. Did say to start rubbing it. I'm betting it's not gonna come off because I did not soak it well enough. But you can see it. I'm starting to be able to see the words here. Just gonna have to remember to come back and blur it out for you. But ooh, paper's starting to rub. Ooh, did you see that, friends? The paper is starting to rub off down here. You want to be gentle. It says if you rub too hard, you may rub your ink right off. So you're gonna want to go a little gentle on here. Ooh, it's starting to go more. It's so exciting. So once you have a little edge, it's going to start to go. Now it says if you need to, re-wet and let it soak again because you don't want to accidentally rub your words all off. It does seem to be easier closer to the edges. Now I'm going to want to make a ragged edge. I don't want this line here anymore, so that's where I'm going to press a little bit harder, is on those edges. Ooh, how exciting, friends. So I'm going to go re-wet my paper towels and start this process again to get it done. It looks like I could almost get this very bottom if I tried. I went right up to the edge of this little ledge, and so this is going to get a little hairy down here, trying to get all this out. So if you're doing it, you might want to trim it so it's not so close to the edge. And I have no ink right there on the edge, so I'm actually using my fingernail to peel that off just because I want to make sure I get that. Ooh, friends, this is working. I can't believe it. We've lowered the bar so much on crafts, and this one's actually turning out really well. Remember, the keys to it are having that special kind of printer, the kind with the dry ink. And again, if you need any help with any of that technical stuff, go to the Mod Podge website. It'll tell you. But it was a Mod Podge special Mod Podge for photo transfer. And remember, we're not actually using a photo though. We're using a printout, and it has to be done in a very specific kind of printer, which I happen to have. If you don't, you know what? You might be able to go to like an office store where they'll print things out for you. So you might be able to take your printout with you, either on a flash drive or as a printout, and they could do it for you. So it's worth asking if you have a local copy shop or office store. They may be able to help you out. Look how once you get started, this is going so quickly. Like, I can't believe it. Like, this is a legit beautiful little craft, and it's just going. Now, remember, I could see at the top here, the ink the water didn't soak in as much, so I'm going to not even try and rub that off. I'm going to go get this paper towel wet again, and then I'll start again. I'm so excited. Friends, you can see I came back and I was so excited I started without you. But notice here, there's a little spot here where I've scratched out some of the things already, and I can tell that because at first I thought it was a bubble, and then I saw how straight a line it was, and I realized I must have scratched that with my nail or something by accident. So you do want to get, as you're getting more of this off, you want to be a little bit more delicate. It's a temptation to try and peel it off, but if you peel it off, the words are going to come off. I may have to redo this because I might have messed up a little section, but like I say, this cost me like $1.50. I did use a coupon at the craft store. It was originally like $2.50, but you can see I kind of played with it up there, and my name is actually the part that's coming off. That might have been too close to the edge, so my name's off. But oh my gosh, friends, this turned out better than I thought. So I'm going to go grab another one of these boards. I have plenty of Mod Podge. You can definitely get a couple of these out of the Mod Podge. And now I know I also have to buy a sealer. And to be really careful about going close to the edges. Oh my goodness, friends. That's okay. That's my name. That's just my name that's scratched out. But how beautiful is that going to be? And then I'll put some sealer on it. And remember, I put my little donkey. No! I'm very excited. So I am going to redo this. I did totally mess up, but again, it's on a $1.50 piece of wood, so I can do that again, and I'm pretty excited about that. God bless you, friends. I hope you really enjoy this craft. I know I did. I had no idea that the words were going to turn out that well. That's what I was nervous about. So this was about a size 20 or 24. It's one of the main script fonts. I can't remember what it is, and I did do it bold. But wow, I'm going to go grab another one of these and redo this, and I'm super excited, and I hope you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. I make them for you. Ha! God bless. Have a beautiful day. Yeehaw.